Hello there. So we are going to be learning about dividing fractions, and our first lesson is dividing a whole number by a fraction. So for example, 6 being a whole number divided by 1/2. So let's figure out this problem and think about what we know about division. So what are we trying to figure out? If we were to put the problem into words, so that we could talk about this problem, what would be a good story problem? I know some of you are probably thinking something like, if we have 6 things and we divide the 6 things in half, then we have 3, right? 6 apples, divide them in half, we have 3 apples. But that would not be the correct way to think about this problem. So the original problem, 6 apples, divide that in half, that's more 6 divided by 2, right? And we all know that 6 divided by 2 is 3. So let's think about this story problem. And actually I'm gonna switch to cakes. You know how much I love cakes and brownies and that whole thing. So let's say that Carl is making cakes for field day, and he has 6 cups of flour. So 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups, 5 cups, 6 cups of flour. And he needs 2 cups to make 1 cake. How many cakes can he make? So if these here are the cups of flour and we need 2 cups for each cake, then we can look at this as being the answer of 3, right? So that would be 3 cakes. Another way of thinking about that is how many 2's are in 6. And remember, we can also write division problems as a missing factor problem. So we could think about 6 divided by 2 as what times 2 equals 6? What times 2 equals 6, right? That is the same thing as 6 divided by 2 is 3. And we all know that that would be 3. So let's see. Let's look back at the 6 divided by half again. So if we want to solve 6 divided by half, we can think about it as how many halves are in 6. Just like how many 2's are in 6? 3. So how many halves are in 6? So we could write it as a missing factor problem also. So how many 2's, hi, Milan, I'm recording, sorry. How many halves are in 6? So halves, how many halves equals 6? So what would this be? So we could write it that way too. And this would be the same answer as this here. So if we use the same idea of cooking, let's say that Lily is making jumbo muffins and she has 6 cups of flour. Okay, so 6 cups of flour, and she needs a 1/2 cup of flour to make 1 muffin. 1/2 cup flour to make a muffin. So how many muffins can she make? Okay, so think about that for a second. How could we show that visually? Okay, so we could look at it this way. So here's the 6 cups of flour, and she only needs 1/2 cup for each muffin. Okay, so we're taking the 6 wholes and we're dividing each of them in half. So how many halves does that leave us with? If I was to continue, yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So we have 12 halves in the 6 wholes. So if we say 6 divided by 1/2, that equals 12. And if we look at our multiplication problem as well, we could say 12 times 1/2 equals 6. And that's what we have been working on. So hopefully that looks familiar. And you can even test your answer. So for example, 12 times 1/2. 12 times 1 is 12. 1 times 2 is 2. And if we flip that to make a mixed number, your answer would be 6. So hopefully you're seeing how multiplication and division are very similar. They're opposites of one another, and you can use what you know about multiplication to help you with division. Okay, how did that feel? Hopefully pretty good. Let's try a problem then. Okay, let's say a 5th grade class, haha, maybe you are making holiday gift baskets. Oh, you guys are so kind. Some of you are making bows for the baskets, and the bows are different sizes. Okay, so that is our entry point to these problems here on page 460. So let's say that, who do I want to use? Let's say Caitlin has 2 yards of ribbon. 2 yards of ribbon. And she needs 1/4 yard to make 1 bow. How many bows can Caitlin make? So she has 2 yards of ribbon. I always like to draw things out. 2 yards. And she needs 1/4 of a yard to make 1 bow. So how would we do that? Thinking about that? What if we divide this up into okay, so now we have fourths, right? So we have 2 yards, and actually we should probably make this 1 yard. That would be a little bit easier to see. 1 yard, just like our 1 hole, and now our 2 holes. So this would be our 2nd yard, and we'll divide that up into fourths. So 2 yards of ribbon, 1/4 yard to make 1 bow. So this would be 1/4. This would be another 4th. This would be another 4th, and so on. So how many bows can Caitlin make if she has 2 yards of ribbon? And hopefully you can see she could make 8. This would be 1 bow, 2 bows, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I forgot to write down the equation. The equation would be 2 divided by 1/4. I hope that was clear. So 2 divided by 1/4 equals 8. Okay, and if we wanted to flip this and see if we're correct using multiplication, we could say 1/4 times 8. We'll see if that equals 2. So 8 times 1 is 8, 4 times 1 is 4, and then when we flip this into a mixed number, we get two holes. Okay, so why don't you try numbers 2, 3, and 4 and see how you do. Okay, and if you're feeling pretty good about that, feel free to go on to page 461, and there are some other problems there, 5 through 8, that are involving the same thing, taking a whole number and dividing it by a fraction. Whole number divided by a fraction. Hope this made sense to you. See you soon. Bye.